Hello and welcome to the Becoming Your Highest Self podcast. I'm your host, Macy Renee, and we are going on a journey together, my friend. If you've been looking for a podcast geared towards your growth, self-awareness, navigating your brain's daily mind drama, and deep inner work to become your highest and best self, you are in the perfect place. Let's get started. Hey there, how are you guys doing today? Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of Becoming Your Highest Self podcast. I'm Macy Renee, and if you're new here, so many welcomes. Thank you for being here. And if you're a returning listener, as always, I appreciate you coming back for more and being here supporting the podcast. If you have been a listener for a while and you've never left a review and you listen on Apple iTunes, I would love it if you left a review. That helps more people find me. It boosts me in the crazy algorithms of the world. And if you are not an Apple iTunes listener, you don't really have to worry about it because I don't think any other hosting site takes reviews. However, one of the ways that you can help is by sharing the podcast with friends, with family, on your social media, tagging me on Instagram or Facebook whenever you do. I absolutely love seeing that. It means a whole lot to me. And this week alone, I have gotten so many messages from, I would say, new friends in the world that I'm meeting. I met a listener all the way from Australia. So if she hears this, it was so nice chatting with you, I think on Instagram. And I got a message from a friend who had referred her friend, and she was just so sweet in talking about the podcast. And then I got another message this week from someone I had never met, letting me know that they enjoyed the podcast and are 7 episodes in. So thank you guys so much for, reaching out and making that connection. I love getting to meet you guys, and it just means a lot to me. It means a whole lot to me. So I'm going to read another review from the podcast. And this one is from Chels Taylor. It says, life-changing. I just started listening to Macy about a week ago. I love everything about this podcast. Helps to lift you up and makes you realize you can be and do anything you desire. So, you guys, I just got back from vacation. I went to 30A, which is just outside of Destin. It's basically a highway that has beautiful views, beautiful beach, amazing restaurants. It's so cute. You can ride your bicycle to everything. You can walk to a lot of things, cute little shops, boutiques, farmers markets, food trucks. It was amazing. It was very relaxing. It's what my brain needed. I've told you guys we've had a lot of stuff going on, and it was just nice to disconnect and be present in the moment, feet in the sand, going into the ocean, laying by the pool. It was just amazing. So today I want to actually talk to you guys. Our topic today is going to be a little bit of everything is figureoutable / resourcefulness. And the reason I think that this is a very important topic to cover is because our brains like to make everything way more complicated than it has to be. It loves it. It loves to make things complicated. It loves to tell you that there's only one way to get something done, and that whenever you get to a roadblock, that it's all over from here, nothing is going to work out, and it's a bunch of BS. And you have to be able to recognize this in your mind when it's doing this in order to overcome it. Your resourcefulness and your brain's ability to figure things out is going to be the ways that you create the results you want in your life. So it's super important that you understand resourcefulness and knowing that everything in life is figureoutable. So I have been someone for most of my life where I abide by everything is figureoutable. When I really really want something. Now, of course, my brain will get in the way and tell me something is impossible when I'm not managing my mind. But when I am managing my mind, which I try to do often, because when we're not managing our mind, we're usually creating our own self-suffering, right? Because we want something and it feels too far away, or we want something and it feels like we're never going to have it, or we want to do something and it just feels impossible to do. So I've lived a lot of my life trying to abide by everything is figureoutable, just because it allows me to get the things that I've really wanted. So I told you guys years ago, I was a part of a relationship marketing company that I absolutely loved, representing a skincare brand at the time. Now they've gone into health and wellness as well, but primarily at the time it was skincare. And I wanted the Lexus car bonus that they offered at a certain level so very bad. And I got my brain to believe that it was possible. I focused on the vision. I focused on what it felt like to have it. But most importantly was that every single moment when it looked impossible and it looked like it wasn't going to work and it just seemed like it was way out of reach, my brain always went to, this is figureoutable. Okay, there's resourcefulness that I can use in order to get what I want. It's just a non-negotiable. Like, that was my standard. I wanted the Lexus car bonus because what that meant for me was that I could sell my Honda, take the profits from my Honda, and split it in half so that way I could help my youngest sister get a car, because at the time we were going through a lot of family stuff and it was a very challenging time in our life, and my sister wanted to go to college and she didn't have a car, and nobody in my family, not just one individual person, was willing or could front the money to help her get a car. And so I thought, if I earn this Lexus through the relationship marketing company, I can sell my Honda and I can take some of that profit to help her get in a car so she can go to college. So when things looked like they weren't going to happen, I was willing to be very resourceful and figure things out. And this is a skill that I want to say not a whole lot of people utilize the way that they can, okay? And it makes all the difference, because if you are willing to figure it out, if you're willing to allow your brain to figure it out, and you're willing to be resourceful, there's nothing that you cannot achieve. There's nothing that you can't have. You're going to reach your goals 100%, because the energy behind it is, it doesn't matter how hard it is, I'm going to figure it out. And so that meant that I would come up with several ideas that not a lot of other people thought about. I thought about new ways to market myself. I thought about new ways to approach things. I was able to create new, essentially, systems, right, for running my little business in order to get the results that I wanted. It's been the same way whenever I wanted to work with coaches. When I wanted to hire my first coach, I couldn't afford her one-on-one prices. I couldn't even afford her group prices. And you guys, it's laughable now, because at the time, her one-on-one coaching prices were $600 a month. I know that there's some of you that are probably like, oh, that's so expensive. I can't even imagine paying $600 a month for a coach. And her group coaching price was $200 a month, and I couldn't even afford that. I mean, I was 24 years old, newly out of college, newly into my career. I desperately wanted to learn everything that she could teach me because I felt so outside of my body. But financially, my thoughts were so limited. Like, I don't have the money. Like, price is super important to me. How many of you guys say those exact things? Like, it depends on the price. It totally depends on the investment. It's blah, 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 amount of money. I don't think I can do that, right? So your brain has limits, and that limit is keeping you from what you ultimately desire. Because if there's something that you're wanting, but the price is stopping you, what you're saying is that money controls your resourcefulness. Money controls your ability to create what you want. And that's why it feels so bad, you guys, because when something external feels like it's controlling you, it means that you have no control. And this is why resourcefulness and having the mindset of everything is figureoutable is so very important, because it helps you get what you want so that you can actually get the result that you want. And so while I couldn't figure out how to pay her $600 a month for one-on-one coaching, I did get resourceful in how I was going to do it, paying $200 a month for group. And resourcefulness is being able to come up with all the ways it can happen. And sometimes we're not even willing to do that. We like to, again, create our own self-suffering, our own pity parties, find all the ways it's not going to work, feel sorry for ourselves in the process, think life is not fair, if only things were different, if only I had more money and more time, if my husband made more, if I made more, whatever the stories are. And you can do that all day long. In fact, your brain will love it if you do that all day long, because it gets to keep you in your comfort zone. So when you make an active decision, I'm going to be resourceful, or everything in life is figureoutable, it allows you to think of ideas that you normally wouldn't. And so for me, my brain started going, what subscriptions do I have that I don't use or that I don't love that I can cancel that put extra money in my pocket? Okay. Idea number one. What things am I currently buying that are mindless spending that I tell myself I need when I don't really need it? AKA TJ Maxx. I love TJ Maxx, but I do not go to TJ Maxx today nearly as much as I used to in my early 20s. That was definitely, looking back, a buffer for me. A way for me to clear my mind was through shopping at TJ Maxx and Home Goods. And I loved it because I would go in and I would imagine different pieces in my future home, and it felt really good, and it connected me to where I was going in the future. So I don't really regret that, but there were definitely a lot of purchases that didn't need to happen, because in the moment that they were making me feel good, they were buffering what I really actually needed to process. And so when there was something I wanted more, like coaching, I was like, oh, okay, well, what little mindless things am I spending on that I don't have to be doing? Okay, so that's another idea. Also, what can I sell? What things am I not using or do not need in my house, or at the time at my townhome, that I can sell to be able to make sure that this is possible? How can I reach out to my company? Because I was a 1099 working for myself, which means that you don't have a consistent or guaranteed paycheck coming to you every week. So those of you that are 1099 workers, or you work for yourself, or you're self-employed, trust me, I understand the money mind drama, especially if your husband or partner is the same situation. I've been a 1099 worker since 2011, so I have not had a consistent income or guaranteed amount of pay since 2011. So trust me, if you have money drama and mind drama, you're preaching to the choir. There's probably nothing that you can tell me that I have not said myself or had a meltdown about myself in these, however many years it's been. What has it been? 10 years or something? That's crazy. So with that being said, selling things, cutting back on things. I also would approach my company and see, how can I get more clients? Because more clients meant more money. How can I build stronger relationships with, for me, the service coordinators that were able to refer more children to me, because my background is pediatric occupational therapy. So I worked with birth to 3 kids while I was getting coached, and making better relationships with the service coordinators and being a really good therapist to the families allowed me to get more referrals, which meant more income to support my coaching needs. So the whole point in saying all of this is that there are many ways to be resourceful and to figure things out to get what it is that you're wanting. Something that I thought was really interesting, I guess it was maybe a few months ago now, my coach in my coaching program asked, how have you had clients pay for coaching. Like, tell me all of the creative ways they were able to get what they wanted when they were fully committed to the results that they wanted to create. And it was this entire thread of like, I don't know, probably 80 answers of ways that either coaches themselves had paid for coaching when it seemed impossible, or that their clients had paid for coaching. And I would just want to read some of these off to you, because if in case you've ever wanted something so bad and you thought, how in the world is it even possible? Maybe this will give you some ideas. Someone sold furniture and things around their house on Facebook Marketplace to pay for their first coach as a broke single mom with bad credit from a divorce. Someone else started performing as a stand-in for commercials, which is totally amazing. Let's see. Borrowed money from parents. Took money out of savings, sold stuff around the house, made homemade dog toys, decreased dining out budget. Let's see, saved all of Christmas money, put off home remodeling, put it on a credit card, even though their belief was, I don't like debt. Put off a family vacation. Holy crap. Sold things on Facebook. Let's see what else. I'm reading these as I go. Bred their dog and sold the puppies. Let's see. Again, borrowing money from someone else. Took it out of 401k. Took out a 0% APR credit card, a personal loan. Decided not to redo their home. Got another job, took it out of an IRA, borrowed it from family, borrowed it from the bank, took it out of savings or an emergency fund, put it on a credit card, sold a vehicle, sold items in the home. Let's see, a line of credit. Ooh, and this is one of my favorites because I didn't even know about this, but so many people in this thread said that they simply asked their job to pay for it. And so many companies that are truly invested in you as an employee, if it is helping with your mental and emotional health, if it is helping with your productivity at work, if it's helping you make the company even better because you're managing your mind and you're more excited to be there and you're a valuable asset to the company, companies that really care about that will pay for you to get coaching or sometimes even therapy. So that's something that is super resourceful. And I had never thought about that because I've worked for myself since 2011. But it was really cool to hear so many people say, I asked HR, like I asked the people higher up, like this is something that I want to do for my mental, emotional health, and I need some help paying for it, or I would like to see if you would pay for it. And they look it over and then they, a lot of times they will approve it. So sometimes it's really just ourselves getting in the way or what we're not willing to do. And I think it's a matter of like how serious you are about whatever it is that you want, right? If you really want to go on vacation, you make some sacrifices to be able to go on that vacation. You're sacrificing maybe like going out to eat a lot, or you are saving stuff that you normally would want to purchase, like you're saving money on things you normally would want to purchase, or maybe you cancel, your Netflix subscription or your Hulu subscription. And here's the thing about it is that if it feels bad to have to do that kind of exchange, like, well, I'm losing something in order to get what I want, I really want you to check your mindset and ask yourself, what is the long-term result that occurs when you're experiencing maybe some temporary discomfort? Because for me, investing $200 a month for, I think I did that for 6 months or maybe a year, and it was stressful because I'm not going to lie, there were times where even that $200 investment sometimes left me with a negative bank account, and I often had thoughts of, am I doing the right thing? But who I've become and what I've gained from those experiences far outweigh what stress, I experienced at that time. And not only gave me, a clear path on the direction that I wanted to go and what I wanted to do with my life, but it helped me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, which also helped me physically. I mean, it gave me more than it ever took, even though at the time it was very scary because you are betting on yourself. You're not investing in whatever it is that you're spending the money on. You're actually investing in yourself. Even if it is like, I want to go on vacation with my family. I want to hire this person to help me. I want to go back to school to get my degree. Like any of those decisions that you're making, there has to be a level of resourcefulness, and we're going to figure it out. If you have a family of, 4 kids and you want to go back to school to become a doctor, you know that you're going to have far less time. You know that you're going to be getting yourself into an ample amount of debt that you're going to have to pay back. But the value that you're going to be getting, right? You're thinking long term. What will it be like to be fulfilled in my career? What will it be like to be more financially stable? What will it be like to be able to provide more for my kids than I'm able to provide now? So while the stressors of med school seems impossible, or going back to school in general seems impossible, or hiring that coach feels impossible, or going, saving for that vacation feels impossible, when you really value what you're going to get in return, it allows your brain to be more resourceful, and this can be figured out. And then your brain will come up with solutions to every quote unquote problem rather than a problem for every quote unquote solution, which is where our brain likes to be to begin with. Usually what you will find with a lot of people that do not manage their mind is that every solution that's offered, they find a problem with. There's some sort of problem to every solution. And so you want to be able to flip that and have a very resourceful brain that says, you know what, there's always a solution to every single problem rather than a problem for every solution that's offered to me. And when I know the result that I'm going to get is valuable to me, I'm willing to spend that time figuring it out. Which is kind of the stage that my husband and I are in right now. Like we're in this kind of transitional phase where we're having to figure a lot out, and the only way that I can describe it is like jumping off a cliff and hoping that you grow your wings as you're falling. That's basically the situation that we're in right now, is like I'm praying that my wings learn how to like flap on the way down this really tall cliff. And my husband's probably feeling the same way as well, but we also trust in ourselves. And I think that that's the biggest thing, is that you have to have a lot of self-trust when you make these decisions to do whatever it is that you want to do and, experience whatever it is that you want to experience. You have to bet on yourself, which is the biggest bet and best bet you can ever make, because you are in control of your results. It's not the external circumstances that control what you can and can't have, even though it feels so true. I know, you guys, it feels so true. If you're struggling with money, like someone telling you it's not the money is going to agitate you or trigger you, right? Because it feels so true. If you're looking at your bank account and you see $100 in there and, something that you want, the vacation is $3,000, it feels very true to be like, it's not possible. It's not going to happen. But if you do not allow your brain the opportunity to find a solution to every, again, quote, quote, problem, okay, I have $100 in my account. The vacation that I want to take my family on is $3,000. You are missing an opportunity to find solutions when you're not willing to be resourceful and when your mindset isn't focused on everything is figureoutable. There are ways that you could make it to that $3,000 for a week or two vacation, right? This is just an example. There are ways that you can hire the coach. So what ways have you looked into, and really get clear on yourself? Like, have you exhausted every option possible? Truly, Have you exhausted every single option? Have you gone to the bank and asked for a loan? Have you, tried it on a credit card? Have you, asked someone for the money and offered to pay them back in chunks? Have you tried to have a yard sale? Have you gone to your employer and asked for them to pay for something that you want? I mean, have you actually been resourceful, or did you see a roadblock and your brain automatically went, well, it's not for me, can't happen? Think about if kids did that with every skill that we try to teach them as adults, like riding a bike. Like you push them on the bike once and they fall over and they go, well, this is not happening. There's obviously no way to ride a bike. There's no way to learn how to balance. This is just impossible. Rather than we can work on their core strength, we can work on them maybe being on the training wheels a little bit longer. We can work on their ability to just be resourceful, maybe like starting off on a soft surface like grass, being there to hold the back of their seat longer while they learn balance and pedaling and all of the things. Like if we even allowed our kids to give up on the first try, there would be a lot of skills that they miss. But kids are typically very resourceful because the world hasn't taught them, all of the roadblocks. It's like if a baby that can't even crawl wants your iPhone or the iPad, they somehow figure out how to roll themselves there, or scoot themselves there, or drag and pull themselves there. Or I've even seen babies lay on their stomach. They have none of the gross motor skills to get to the iPhone or iPad, but they want it. They want it so bad. And those little tiny tots will figure out how to pull, they will grip onto the blanket and keep pulling it until the phone is within reach for them to get it. I've seen it all as a pediatric therapist, and I'm like, the determination and the figureoutableness of babies and toddlers and kids, especially if you tell them no, is exactly what we need as adults whenever something feels impossible or like it gets in the way. And the truth is that you can be much more resourceful whenever you want. It doesn't have to be an emergency, but a lot of times it takes severe pain, right, in order for us to get resourceful. Or it's kind of like, if something tragic happens, like the house was burning on fire and you got out and you realized that your kids or your pet or someone was still in the, burning building, you would get very, very resourceful of all the ways you could help get them out, right? Like call 911, go back in somehow a different way. You would think of a million different ways to try to help. Same thing if they were kidnapped, right? How can we start a, reward? How can I get the money for reward? Or, how can we make this happen? Who can I put together in a search party to help find them? Our brain becomes very resourceful sometimes when it feels like that's the only option that we have, but really you have all of these options available to you at any given time for anything that you truly desire. You just have to be willing to go for it. So I hope that this episode was helpful for you in knowing that your brain can figure anything out, and knowing that you have a lot of resources. You just have to be willing to try them out. So I hope that with it, you get whatever it is that you're desiring in your life. And as always, if you have questions, you can reach out. I look forward to connecting with you. If you are new here or if you never have reached out, find me on social media. Those links are always in the show notes. And as you guys know, I have transitioned to full one-on-one coaching, and you can learn all about that at MacyRenee.com. I'll see you guys next week.